It's a mostly dry work week ahead, but we do have to discuss maybe a couple raindrops or snowflakes here or there. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. We've got the weather map for tomorrow showing that storm system we've kind of been eyeing for several days. It is very weak and it's staying very much to our south, so it's not going to be a major weather maker for us tomorrow, but it is mostly cloudy, very cloudy at times. We could see some hours with just overcast skies tomorrow, but again, it's a very dry week overall ahead, and we do see sunshine emerging by the middle of the week, of course. Yet Monday nights, can't rule out a couple of raindrops, a couple of snowflakes, but that storm system does move very quickly away, a couple of disturbances actually, and then maybe Friday night into Saturday we see a couple raindrops or snowflakes as well. So stay tuned to CapitalWeatherGang.com. We'll watch these little nuisance issues in the forecast, these little storm systems and disturbances, but overall you can see the week is a warming one. We get toward 50 degrees perhaps as soon as Wednesday. We'll see, but it's a higher chance of 50 degrees or higher by Thursday into Friday as well. Let's see what else we have on the blog for you. Our latest forecast, cwg.news/latest, and the ski conditions at cwg.news/slopecast. So please check those out on CapitalWeatherGang.com as well. And of course, we've got the sunset getting later and later finally. Our day length is finally over 9.5 hours, so I hope you are enjoying that as well. It just has taken a little bit of time to kind of get the slowly longer day length after that winter solstice, but we are getting there and looking way ahead to next work week. If you're looking at kind of signals in the atmosphere, general trends, there's no major temperature signal. This is showing near perhaps normal temperatures for next week, and remember that's quite cold this time of year. We are entering now our coldest time of year, but for the kind of thinking in the back of your head, if you're wanting next week to be cold or warm more than average, it's looking like there's no major atmospheric signal for that, so keep that in mind. In our average here this time of year, for context, is 43 degrees for a high and for 28 for a low. By the time you talk to me next Sunday, our low temperature does go down by 1 more degree. So let me see if I can load comments. We are looks like there we go. I can do that now. Sorry about the camera shanking. Hey Laura, you want some sunshine? You're excited about that? Let's go to the forecast while I take some Q&A. You are excited to get some more sun by Tuesday as well. Hey Gary, thanks for tuning in. And Christine, wish we had a snowstorm in forecast. Maybe February. Yes, Christiane. That is possible. Plenty of winter ahead. We get snow flakes falling even sometimes the first week of April around DC. We've had cold snaps with some moderate to big snowstorms in mid to even almost late March. So don't lose hope, snow lovers. Even if January turns out to be dry, we are keeping an eye on snow. And of course, every day we think there's even a hint of a possibility of accumulating snow. Our snow potential index is issued on CapitalWeatherGang.com and on Twitter at CapitalWeather. It's a 1 out of 10 right now. This wording kind of is pessimistic, and we'll just leave it at that for now. So snow lovers, please keep your expectations managed. Even if we do see a couple snowflakes here or there over the next week, it is mostly dry, and we can't seem to align moisture with the cold air. So it is a warming trend coming toward us this week. We could even see 50 degrees by as soon as Wednesday, perhaps, but Thursday and Friday have a higher chance of being 50 degrees as well. Hey Mary, any predictions for Inauguration Day? We have an article coming out on that early this week. So stay tuned. We like to update that, of course, every 4 years for the inauguration, so stay tuned. And Gary, sun is already set up in Maine. I'm sorry to hear that. And hey, Paul, thanks for tuning in. And Will, hey, temperatures in the 40s are good. Still hoping for snow this winter. Plenty of winter ahead for potential snowstorms. And yes, this is a warming trend. This is above average. Our average high temperature this time of year is about 43 degrees. So keep that in mind when we're looking at the forecast. And our average low temperature right now is 29 degrees technically, but looking ahead to next week, we are then in the midst of our coldest time of year, and there's no major signal cold or warmer than average when looking ahead at the temperature trends for next work week. And that's again our coldest time of year by next work week, with a high temperature same as today, 43 degrees, but 1 degree colder on that low temperature of 28 degrees. Roughly January 12th through 24th, I believe, is our technical coldest time of year, the coldest average high and low temperatures. Let's see. Hey, Jim, thanks for tuning in. Polar vortex looks limited. It has split a little bit, I believe, around the North Pole, but no major piece of the polar vortex is expected to spin off in the immediate future toward us in the mid-Atlantic or the East Coast. So good question, Jim. No major cold outbreaks expected in this outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for next week. Kind of agrees with our thinking that the polar vortex stays somewhat contained up near the North Pole and does not break into pieces, which then lends itself to spindles of cold air spilling southward out of the North Pole, out of Canada, into our neck of the woods. Gary, yes, good weather for walks. I agree. I've been trying to get every sunny, walkable day for a walk outside. And Ted, hey, thanks for tuning in. The end of January, we're not quite there just yet to be able to give you a clear signal. I've looked ahead at some of the guidance and I don't see a major cold signal, but there's always a chance that we can get 2 days of cold air and 1 day of moisture to line up for a moderate snowstorm. So just plenty of winter ahead, snow lovers. Keep the faith. And expecting 80s next week, James. Where are you located, in Florida or South Texas? Let me know. That's very cool. Awesome. Very hot, actually. Can I get a hat, Lynn? Yes, we're trying to get more hats once we can get back into the office safely. Stay tuned. That's in the medium to long term, but good question, Lynn. Thanks so much for asking. Marion, hey, you want snow as well? I'm sorry there is none in the forecast just yet. Let's look at the week at a glance. The snow tomorrow really does stay well south of town. Very far southern Virginia might see some flakes. North Carolina might see some flakes. Maybe a flake or two tomorrow night with a piece of energy Monday night, but it could also be a couple raindrops. So I put that kind of indicator in there. And maybe Friday night, we also see a couple raindrops or snowflakes. But stay tuned to capitalweathergang.com and follow us on Twitter, so that's at Capital Weather, so that we can keep you posted on any of these little systems that can escape some of the weather models every now and then. So, it doesn't take much in DC. We can get a quick dusting if we're not watching things very vigilantly, but nothing like that is expected at this time. Just, of course, with a warming trend heading toward 50 by Wednesday, Thursday, snow chances are very limited and accumulation is exceptionally limited. But it is our coldest time of year. So again, snow lovers, plenty of winter ahead. Keep the faith. Hey, where's my snow, Lori? It is not in the forecast, I'm sorry to say. Oh, Suzanne, hello, North New York State. Pleasure to see you. And snow on your 60th birthday, Marianne. I will try on the 29th. Fingers crossed. And polar vortex, Rick, we talked about a minute ago. It is staying fairly contained near the North Pole. And here's the signal even for next week, not a major cold signal, where a piece of the polar vortex, at one point there was skepticism though, with a piece as it split off heading south into our region, leading to cold air, spilling out of the North Pole in the Arctic part of Canada toward the East Coast. But even next work week, no major cold signal to speak of. So this lends us to think the polar vortex stays fairly contained and not completely splitting off into different parts that can spin downward from the North Pole like a spinning top, where pieces can fling into our area pretty quickly like a pinwheel. So far, that is not on the table in any major way just yet. But of course, forecast tweaks are possible as we look beyond the 6 to 7 day period where details get a little fuzzy. Thanks to trillions of molecules in the atmosphere hitting off of each other and bouncing in unpredictable ways. That noise in the data, that chaos gets very hard when by day 6 and day 7, there's lots of noise in the data and things become very murky and less clear. So just keep that in mind. Stacy would love a 3-foot snowstorm. I hear you. Snow lovers definitely are looking for some snow, and Marianne is going to cross her fingers for snow on the 29th for her birthday. And Gary, early happy birthday to Marianne as well. That's most kind. So let's see what else I have for you. I'm Camden Walker for Capital Weather Gang. We're looking ahead into next work week, actually, just to give you a signal, a generalized idea of what could happen. Maybe we see above average precipitation next week, but as you saw a moment ago, temperatures aren't exactly predicted to be below average. So snow lovers, I'm sorry, this has a chance. If we see a slight chance of above average precipitation, this could be rain next week. So just keep that in mind. Our snow potential index every day on the blog, when we think there's even a hint of a chance of accumulating snow, it's only a 1 out of 10, roughly a 10% chance of accumulating snow in the next week around DC. So snow lovers, we are pessimistic at this time, but there's plenty of winter ahead. And just to illustrate, it's a dry week ahead. Here's the next 7 days of precipitation in the region. We really may only see a few stray flakes, a stray raindrop. Monday night and Friday night are kind of the two little time frames for those potential moments of precipitation. But we'll keep you posted. This is subject to change, but just the trend is there when looking over the next 7 days for it staying pretty dry. So keep that in mind as well. And more detailed look at the end of the week. We get pretty warm here on Thursday. 50 degrees is very much on the table. And look at that, Richmond is even warmer. And by Friday, a cold front is approaching from the west. You can see it gets colder there in West Virginia and even western parts of Virginia like Harrisonburg. But 50 for the I-95 corridor is still in play. And then we are cooler on Saturday. Behind the cold front. Do we have a few bits of precipitation like rain or snow that early in the morning on Saturday? Perhaps, but accumulation at this point looks very unlikely if we do even see snowflakes at all early Tuesday morning or Friday night. Early Saturday morning or Friday night. So again, cooler potentially this weekend, but the dry tendency is there for much of this week. So any precipitation would probably fizzle pretty quickly, but we'll of course keep you posted as we get closer to some of these little mini events of raindrops and snowflakes. All right, so let's see. Vicky, thank you for tuning in. You're most welcome. It sounds like I answered your question. And Mary, the air is very dry and moisturizer like crazy. Yes, indeed, those dew points are very low, as we can expect generally this time of year in January. Our coldest and driest month of the year is right around now. The coldest period is January 12th through 24th. And let me show you the average high and low temperature. By next week, we're in the midst of the coldest air. 43 for a high is average at DCA, and low temperature of 28 at DCA Airport for an average low temperature. And that's the coldest air this time of year. So when you look at this signal map for temperature trends next week, the A being above, B being below, and you can see light orange means slight chance of above average there in the Dakotas. Light blue, maybe even a medium blue there over Colorado, the kind of Four Corners region. They have a decent chance of being below average based on the coloring. But here we might be near normal, and that again is not exactly warm or cold. We've kind of acclimated to 43 over 28 for a low temperature. So that might be feeling seasonably chilly next week as well. Is it almost summer, Andrea? Sorry, not there yet. Good to hear from a summer weather lover. And Greg, the snow is not around. We can't seem to line up. This cold air is not even looking possible next week, and even this moisture next week. If we were slightly above average precipitation chances for next week, that could be more rain chances than snow chances. But we'll see. It only takes a little, dose of cold air to come together with a little bit of moisture to give us a little bit of snow in the DC area. We're right on that mid part of the continent where Gulf of Mexico moisture and cold air comes out from Canada. It can meet over the mid-Atlantic. So keep the faith, snow lovers. Yes, we're a little pessimistic with our snow potential index only being a 1 out of 10. And we do this every day on our forecast on capitalweathergang.com. And we tweet this out on Twitter at Capital Weather. Yes, we're pessimistic, but we try and keep hope alive even a little bit, even so you're not surprised by people who don't like snow. There's a 10% chance of snow in the next 7 days, but nothing major. We'll keep you posted on Monday night and Friday night. We're talking a couple snowflakes, a couple raindrops. Those are the two mini chances at this time. What else have I seen come in from you all? Just tomorrow, really quick, we'll recap. It looks cloudy with a weak storm system keeping precipitation chances to our south, but it looks overcast and a little bit winter doldrums tomorrow around DC in the mid-Atlantic, even though we don't see precipitation making it into our area. But at least we're not too cold, and the wind is under control for the next several days as well. But the trend is for warmer conditions, and we might see 50 as early as Wednesday, and it's definitely on the table for Thursday and Friday with higher probability of seeing at least 50 degrees there. So it is, yes, dry, Misha, good question, but it is cold enough for ski resorts indeed. We have decent conditions, especially with these overnight sub-freezing temperatures below the 32 degree mark. Check out the latest ski forecast at cwg.news/slopecast. And our latest update on the blog at capitalweathergang.com is at link cwg.news/latest. You can touch on my face on your mobile device and popping up below. You will see on your mobile device all these links we're talking about, including a donation link if you want to help gifts for the homeless. That is one of our campaigns this winter to try and keep the homeless population just a little bit warmer if they are displaced outside and sleeping in tents, many of them, hundreds of them. So keep that in mind as well. It's still seasonably chilly this time of year, and it is at least getting longer with our day lengths. We are finally above 9.5 hours for the daylight from sunrise to sunset. And yes, sunrise is not exactly getting earlier in a massive way just yet, but sunset is the one advancing later and later, so you could probably notice this evening light is getting a little bit better. Even behind me when I do these broadcasts, we have enough twilight so it doesn't look too dark on my face. Hopefully you can see me. And then Let me take some more questions and comments while I put up the forecast at a glance. I'm Camden Walker for Capital Weather Gang. Follow us on Twitter at Capital Weather as well. And Gary is thinking about 40% for a chance of moisturizer. And Mike wants some snow. I'm sorry it's not in the immediate forecast for accumulating snow, Mike. And yep, Misha, we did talk about the ski resorts being good enough to produce snow, and their conditions are decent at cwg.news/slopecast. Check out the details. And Antoine, you're tired of having to keep the faith, Camden. Well, it is early in the snow season for DC. March and even April can see a little bit of snow in the DC area, so keep that in mind. The snow season is young here. Our average first accumulating snow, I believe, is right around the winter solstice, in fact, December 21. So we're not even a month into our average snow season of accumulating snow here in DC. So keep that in mind. And yes, Antoine, you sound like a third grader. That's no worries. I know snow lovers are frustrated with these forecasts recently. Gary, thank you so much for tuning in. You stay safe and have a good sun-filled week as well there in Maine. And thank you all for tuning in. I'm Camden Walker. We're talking about the work week ahead. The weather looks like it's going to warm a little bit. It looks like it's going to stay mostly dry, although a couple flakes, couple raindrops, possible Monday nights, maybe early Tuesday, but generally sunny Tuesday and Wednesday. And then 50 degrees on the table, very likely by Thursday and perhaps Friday as well, if not a little bit earlier this week. So we'll watch the Friday night, Saturday morning time frame as well for another little batch of precipitation. But overall, we've been talking about the storm track staying to our south, and this map indicates tomorrow's map for snow and rain staying south of town. As you can see, that storm system off the coast of the Carolinas, throwing us, yes, some clouds look to sock us in for much of the day tomorrow. So that's not great when we have such continually short daylight hours, when we can't get some rays of sunshine. But that's the weather tomorrow, fairly quiet and cloudy, little breeze, and that's nice when it's not too warm tomorrow. It's kind of our coldest day of the week, if you will, but seasonably chilly overall. And remember to check out our latest forecast at cwg.news/latest and the latest ski conditions at cwg.news/slopecast. Touching on my face, you'll see them pop, all these links we're talking about pop up on your mobile device below or above if you were on your desktop or laptop. And sunrise to sunset, we now have over 9.5 hours of daylight. So that is some good news if you are getting tired of these short days. And best of all, for me anyway, is more evening light. Look at that sunset now past 5 p.m. 2 thumbs up to that. And Susan, I'm not sure how much snowmakers cost. And David, you wish that low pressure system was a little further north than it is over the Carolinas tomorrow. I agree. It looks, though, just like clouds for us in the DC area tomorrow, with maybe Monday night we see a couple spits of snow or raindrops, but I'm trying not to overpromise. Just don't want you to be surprised if you don't like snow. Just, you might see a couple flakes. Accumulation, extremely unlikely. What else do I have for you? The temperatures for next work week when our average gets the coldest of the year. High temperature is the same as today, 43 degrees for high temperature DC airport, but the low temperature goes down 1 more degree from this week. We go to 28 degrees for an average low temperature next week at DCA airport. So our coldest time of year, and we'll be seasonally chilly. It looks like there's no major signal for above average or below average temperatures next week. So yes, we could see still some snowflakes perhaps here or there, because that is not terribly, it's not going to prevent snow necessarily, especially with overnight temperatures perhaps being below freezing, but no major signal for a major cold outbreak or warmth above the average temperatures this time of year. And yes, next week's precipitation does hint at maybe a little bit above average. We could be a little wetter next week compared to this week, which looks pretty darn dry, which we've talked about. Look at this over the next 7 days. Perhaps no precipitation, measurable precipitation in DC. Some raindrops or snowflakes could fall maybe Monday night, maybe Friday night, but they might not measure up to much of anything. It's looking pretty dry in the mid-Atlantic, but next week, as we saw a moment ago, that could change with this trend map signaling maybe above average precipitation next week. And again, still lovers, I'm sorry for this pessimistic snow potential index that SPI tweeted out every day at Capital Weather on Twitter and on capitalweathergang.com. Our morning forecast has this 1 out of 10 right now, so hopes are not high. And David, you'd like to see the sunset later and later. Yes, I would love to be broadcasting later and later, since I do tie these to our Sunday sunset Q&A. I'm pleased you could tune in. And yes, those sunsets do get later and later, and that would help me, give me a little more time to prepare with some of that later data coming out mid-afternoon. So I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. Here's a forecast for at a glance for the week ahead. Pretty dry, and it's a warming trend with 50 degrees on tap as early maybe as Wednesday, if not Thursday. So Frank says rainmakers are very expensive, and Annette is looking forward to the week ahead weather. I'm glad you can maybe get outside and walk, do a little bit of exercise. The breeze should stay under control this week as well. Thursday, Friday, maybe it's a little higher in the breeze, but the good news is, even with tomorrow being our coldest day of the week with some clouds slacking us in, breezes are generally under control. So that is some silver lining to this forecast as well. It won't be too terribly wind chilled or chilly this week. All right, well, I think that is the last of the questions and comments. I did get to everything. Please have a safe and healthy week ahead. The weather should hopefully not prevent you from getting outside for a little bit of safe walking and maybe running or some just basic exercise. And Tuesday, Wednesday, once we see the sun again, we will be able to get a little bit of hint of vitamin D and just some good mood-enhancing sun rays into our eyes by the end of the week. All right, well, signing off for now. I will see you next Sunday, a few minutes later, as those sunsets do get later and later. But thanks for tuning in to these Sunday Sunset Chats. I'm Camden Walker. Follow us on Twitter, Capital Weather, and the blog, capitalweathergang.com. And Mary, it has been a cloudy January, and I think, if memory serves, it is our cloudiest month. So we are just going to have to bear with it with some of these clouds. But look forward, like I will, to Tuesday and Wednesday when it's sunnier. And I'll take 50 degrees for a little while later this week, even though, yes, I technically want some snow. Lynn, thank you too. Thanks for tuning in. And everyone, take care. Bye for now.